Another beautiful day brings another summertime soap. Today we're making watermelon slices. You're watching the members version of this video, which includes the full recipe. And don't forget, if you follow the link below, you can print the recipe and instructions for your convenience. Before we get into the main project, I'm prepping up some embeds that I made the night before. These are going to be our watermelon seeds. And although they don't look like seeds right now, well, we'll see how they come out in our final project.
The world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful. You and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors. Forever free.
Now you don't need a special mold for these embeds. You could just pour what you have into the bottom of a regular loaf mold, and then when you're ready to take it out the next day, slice them into these long, thin slices.
Sometimes you need to go and take a step back.
Now we'll make our lye water solution, and we'll gently pour the lye crystals into the cold distilled water.
From a distance you can tell.
Of course, don't forget your safety protection. I am wearing my glasses, gloves, and a mask. And on a day like this, with the windows wide open and a nice cross breeze coming through, you might feel like you don't really need to wear a mask, or that you have plenty of good ventilation. And although that helps the soap making process, if you're making soap every day like I do, then the irritant that you breathe can start to accumulate over time. So it is still a good idea to make sure you're wearing a mask, even if it seems like a nice breezy day.
In the great outdoors.
Now we're going to add our oil combination. And this is a recipe that I've put together that I tend to like for my summertime soaps. It's not too heavy and it's not too moisturizing, and the oils are light, so I can get those nice cold process popping colors. Now this combination is sort of meant to set up a little bit faster than some of my other recipes. Although we're using the same oils that you see me use in some of my other soap recipes, the increments and the amounts are a little bit different. And the result of that is that this will come to trace faster. And you'll see why later in the process as we're trying to place our embeds.
From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful. You and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors. Forever free.
Now we'll set our lye water solution and our oils aside and prepare our colorants. Here we're using soapberry green. Now when you're using colorants and dyes, there's no guarantee that the color that you see in front of you as you're mixing it into your oils is going to be the color that it will end up in your final project. Soapberry green is known for morphing. It'll actually turn into more of a natural sage color. And I'm going to put that into my watermelon soap because I want the rind to be an earthy natural sage. Now if you wanted your watermelon to be more of a cartoon kind of color, then we would use a more vibrant green. In this case we would use more of a neon green. But right now we're kind of going toward the earth tones. For our pink in our watermelon, we're going to try Hollywood Pink, and that comes from Nurture Soap. And this one here has kind of a melon tinge to it, and it's also a little bit darker. So the attempt is that by bringing that pink color down a little bit, it will match our earthy natural sage green.
Forever free.
Now that we have our colorants mixed and our embeds prepared, it's time to add the lye water solution to the oil combination. In this case, they've both been set aside to reach room temperature, and it's important that when you add your lye water solution, the temperatures are no more than 20 degrees apart from each other.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.
Of course, mixing with a spoon isn't enough. We'll need to blend this up with a stick blender to get it to completely emulsify. Here we're adding our classic watermelon fragrance oil. We've got about 2 ounces of this that we're going to put into the entire batch.
So beautiful, you and me, we meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Now we're going to separate a small portion of the batter so that we can make our green watermelon rind. I've poured about 10 ounces into this cup, and we're going to add the soapberry green. Our watermelon rind will be placed at the very bottom of the mold. It will be the first layer that we add to our project.
To see the truth around you, from a distance you can tell. To be in the great outdoors, forever free.
We'll pour a nice even layer, and then we'll set this aside so that it can start to harden up while we're working on our other colors.
In the great outdoors, forever free.
Next, we're going to create a white layer. Now I've poured even less soap batter than I did with the green, and this is because we just want a very, very thin layer right across that watermelon rind. And of course, this is that white tissue between the meat and the rind of our melon. So we just need to give it just a little bit for context.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.
Try to pour this as gently as you can so that it doesn't interrupt the bottom layer, which is still very soft. It hasn't completely set up, but we've given it just enough time so that we could try to get this layer poured over the top without too much of a swirl or a drop in from the weight of the soap coming in from above.
We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Now it's time to add the pink, and of course this is the main portion of our soap batter. So we're going to take that Hollywood pink and blend it in.
Sometimes you need to go.
As we're blending, it doesn't seem quite dark enough to me, so I'm going to put in another 2 grams of this mica.
Around you, from a distance you can tell.
Now the more we mix, the thicker the trace becomes, and we kind of want that for this project because when we start to add it to the mold, we have to consider that we're going to be placing our embeds right on top of the surface, and we want them to stay where we place them. We don't want them to drop through. So it's important that the viscosity of the soap batter is thicker than it would be if we were just free pouring it or trying to create a swirl. As you can see here, the trace is pretty well defined. Now the first layer, I'm going to be extra careful because I don't want to interrupt or disturb too much the bottom 2 layers. So I'm going to take my time. Now the pink soap is starting to become heavier, and so in order to keep the best control over it, we're just going to spoon this on top very carefully. This is the most important layer when you're trying to get that pink layer in, because we want this to behave properly so we can start adding our embeds.
I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Now with that first layer of pink on, it's time to place our embeds, and we're going to kind of nudge them down into the soap a little bit. And now you can see why I didn't want to pour this too thin. As a matter of fact, I wanted it to set up a little bit so that when I place my embed on top, it'll stay where I put it, and instead of just dropping to the bottom. I'm going to lay these seeds down in as much of a random pattern as I can. There's no set place you want to put the seeds, but we'll put one full layer and then we'll coat this with another top of pink as soon as we finish.
Forever free, you and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
And now you just alternate your embeds with another layer of pink, and you keep doing this until you run out of space.
Bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here, I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
And of course, after 24 hours, your bar is ready to cut.
Meant to be
And now you can see
great outdoors,
how those long strips of embeds turned out to be seeds in our watermelon.
you and me, meant to be.
We'll set these aside to cure for 4 to 6 weeks. Since this is a cold process recipe, they won't be ready to use until the water has completely evaporated and the lye has become inert in this bar.
a bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together